began in 2007. I live in a rent-stabilized building, and I've been here for now like 47, since 1963, and I'm 58. So you do the math on that. It's over 46 years.
Right.
Anyway, in New York City, with the real estate and everything, they're trying to run rent-stabilized people out. What happened with me is that both of my parents, I lived with my parents my whole life, and my kids are in here also. Both of my parents got ill at the same time. And now in retrospect, because my father was a political activist, he was gang stalked, and my mother as well, and harassed. But my father never really discussed it with us. But I do remember hearing things as growing up like this. The CIA and FBI would be outside my building. They would grab him and all kinds of things. And just in retrospect that I'm sort of piecing things together. And then with stuff in my childhood, I can see that, you know, we were all, because like when I was very, very small, because I'm interracial, people from Columbia University would come and test my IQ, and they would call me out the classroom and all kinds of stuff in retrospect. So anyway, to make a long story short, in 2007, I was on a dating site called Tangle Wire out of boredom. And what happened is that the landlord used 3 lobbyists that raised money for this building. One was an attorney general from California. They contacted me with one name called Bob King, but it was 3 different pictures, and I thought it was weird. So what they did was they call a love bite. Love bite is when they calculate and they use brain mapping it, because they use everything on me, chemicals, electronic harassment, you name it, the whole gamut. And what they do with the love bites to program all these gang stalking electronic things are programmed. And what they do is they fiddle around, they look at your personality to see which one is easier to coerce you with. So they use the love bite to do a fuck you sign back to them with a smile. They do the hand signaling. You have to take pictures. You have to stay diligent. I am being gassed. I was just gassed this morning. They gassed me through the ear vents. It's not complicated. $30. Let me tell you something, people. $30, you buy an NSA plastic tubing kit. That kit has a little, like, jack or screw that screws into your main pipe, just like you would use a refrigeration kit. And through that external extra wire or tubing, they put on rubber gloves and they pump shit through your apartment. It goes straight into the piping system so it can hit you directly. These are not complicated theories, but people are not thinking. They don't want to face reality, and then it's too late. On my floor alone, because I had a lot of rent-stabilized apartments, on my floor, I think it goes to A to L. About 8 people at one time have had cancer. And they're all rent-stabilized. What does that tell you? That means you're under attack. The other thing is that they have what they call the realtor's party. I just found out about that about 6 months ago. The realtor, and while I'm sitting here, they're using sound waves. A lot of people sound waves bother. It bothers their ear, the frequency. It drives them crazy. So they'll try different things from sound waves, low ELF, high frequency, whatever. The whole thing is to try to unbalance you. But the more knowledge you acquire, and the more you understand what is happening to you, you will not let it bother you, and you will learn how to fight back. I wish all of us would unite against these creeps and do a blanket lawsuit. I called a lawyer once. He said, well, you need $30,000 for me to go after them. So it is not designed. It's designed to eliminate poor people first, people of color, and people they consider weaker. That's the problem. But if you cannot live in fear on this thing, because this is what it's designed to do. They're trying to kill you. They're trying to kill my ass. They've been trying to kill. I have scars on my face. I have scars on my neck. They are angry. I've had people come up in my face and said, you're still beautiful. I said, okay, and you should don't work on me. These people are insane. They are racist. They are hateful people. What's worse, they use desperate non-white people. They hand them crumbs. I call those whores. They're whores. They hand them crumbs to do their dirty work so they don't get caught. You have to, once you realize something's happening to you that doesn't feel normal, that you feel people are following you, you're not crazy, or you feel like you're being drugged at certain times but can't explain it. Start taking ear tests. I took private ear tests because in the city, it takes them too long to get here and they clean out the vents, so I found a private company. I found all kind of shit in my ear. Start doing things on your own. Don't count on the city to help you because they're in cahoots too a lot of times. And gather facts. Knowledge is power. I'm not going into every detail, but basically this is my situation. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, I was talking to a friend of mine named Steve. He lives on the West Coast. And he had drone planes flying over. He has a barn outside his house, and he had drone planes flying over the barn. And me and him were talking about this deeply, and he was saying that he believes that there's a paranormal element to the program.
Well, what they do is they utilize. It's not really. I don't totally know about that. Excuse me. I'm eating. I'm sorry. There is what they call the Montauk Project. Hold on. I've got to drink something.
Yeah, I know about that. The Montauk Project.
Right. And also, let me get a sip because I was trying to eat my lunch at the same time.
Oh, take your time.
Okay. And the Manhattan Project, what they do is people that they think have special gifts and powers, they try to horn in on them. That's the other reason I was also put into the program, because of the nature of my work. I'm a spiritualist. Yes. They experiment with, they do different scientific, these are Nazi-based, of course, but they feel that they're working with extraterrestrial type of stuff and all that kind of thing, which is possible. In my case, these are a bunch of shithead, Nazi-based Zionists after me. But there are some people who have been put in programs that they do experiment and utilize what they call paranormal activity. Most of the time you're hearing voices, it is not paranormal. It's V2K. What it is that there's a person on the other end of a microphone. They map your brain frequencies. Once they know what frequency, we all vibrate, we're all electrical. Once they know what frequency your brain regulates to, they will talk through a microphone and direct a specific frequency to you so you can hear a voice. Then you think you're hearing shit. But you're not, darling. You're talking into a microphone. There is a woman called Hope Girl on YouTube, and she had the scientist who created that break it down. All this stuff there is an explanation for. Yes, they deal with extraterrestrial stuff because they do utilize military personnel and military equipment. In my case, with the Realtors Party, there's a faction called Military Realty. So they do deals. Like, for instance, in my case, in my building, they'll do deals with military personnel. You come in and harass us, certain amount of people, and use your equipment and programming and do a slow kill on the rent stabilized tenants, and we'll give you perks and real estate. So yes, the military who does engage in stuff like that, there is an element of that as well. And there is paranormal stuff that exists in the world, but like in my case, this is definitely a bunch of shithead Nazi Zionists playing games.
You know what I realized? Like, after this is even when I started getting gang stalked. I started getting gang stalked last year, but even before that, I was doing all my conspiracy research, and I ended up going to Hollywood to meet a colleague of mine that I was doing interviews with, and then I had ended up meeting some of the people from the secret societies, and they were watching me to see how big of a threat I was to bringing down a level of deception. But what I realized is the powers behind the scene that run stuff is so sophisticated and so they're like a million steps ahead of the ordinary person on the street. So when you tell an ordinary person, like I got people all the time on YouTube, and they'll never believe in a million years how this stuff works. They just can't get it because it's too. They're living like it's almost like regular people are like still living in like the 1800s or something, and that's what it's like.
This is true. Yeah, and that's why they keep them like that. The media, I don't even watch TV anymore because they perpetrate lies. All this stuff going on. I believe it's part of what they call the Agenda 21 to eliminate people. And who they're going to go after first? People that they think are inferior, weaker, not as intelligent. Of course, it's based primarily on racism. But these are the people they want to go after.
Right.
So, the average person lives in La La Land. They watch TV, they see what's on TV, and they call it a day. We're not taught to think for ourselves, or educate ourselves, or look further into things.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when the shit hits them, they think they're mentally incompetent, but they're not. And they put on drugs, and slowly their body decomposes.
Right. I think there's I think there's some hidden power to all this stuff because because I've realized that the establishment reacts very differently to me than they do a normal person. Like it's almost like they roll out a red carpet for me in a sense.
Right.
Cause say if I went to Washington D.C. right now, before I even got there, they would already know I was on my way.
Because they're clocking you.
Right.
Really clocking conversation.
Right, but I noticed that I've approached people who were in positions of authority, and they were they were very open and lenient, even though they necessarily wouldn't discuss the program with me. They were extremely lenient. Oh, it was almost like I could get away with a lot more than an ordinary person.
Well, you're lucky. Because a lot of people that do know stuff, they're going to get rid of because they want to keep the secret so they can continue doing it.
But like if you if you approach them, they kind of run from you though.
Yes, because they don't want to be exposed. That's what happened to me when I saw the bald-headed man because he lived across. I put his picture up. I point him out. I'm like, you're the one that crossed me.
Right. I see. I started going into corporations like big businesses, and at first it was a thing where the program had set up where all these people were watching me like I was trying to steal something, and then I just started approaching all the people who worked there and approaching the managers, and I kept telling them my story over and over and over again, telling them my name and telling them why the company's been. I was explaining to them why they were asked to watch me, and then after I did that, I started going to other stores, and they started treating me. The store has been treating me with like respect because they don't want me to explain to them why they're told to watch me, and so it's almost like they're like really kind and stuff, and they're like smiling. And it's like a yes sir, no sir thing.
Well, that's also another form of stalking as well. It's two extremes. They'll be extremely nice to you where you think it's weird, or they'll be really with the softening technique. Since that softening stuff doesn't work on you and they know it, they have to kowtow to you because it's too obvious. It's like you busted them on one level.
Yeah.
So they can't do anything. They can't do what they normally would do on you. So they have to be nice to you because if you do any little thing, you're going to whistle blow their ass.
Right.
They don't have a choice.
Right.
You know?
I kind of like it though. Like when like if they're real.
I don't blame you.
You know, it makes you feel like you're important, kind of. You know, it's just like wow.
Well, we are. Well, we have to be important, or they wouldn't go out of their way to bother us.
Right.
We're definitely special or something, or they wouldn't do it. But I have that too, and when a new gang stalker comes, there is, I do communicate with some people who know what's going on, who look out for me, and when I'll say, yo, the bitch in the red shirt, she gang stalking me with her dumb, stupid ass. Cunt, don't do that shit. The next time I come in, she's very nice to me. So,
Yeah.
So I understand that. When you call them on their shit, they don't want exposure. So anytime you expose these people, that weakens their cause. Anytime you depower their sense of power, they have to be cool because they don't want to blow their cover. Because not for us, but them, some of these people, they will off rather than have that whole organization crumble. They're expendable. The people that they use, the worker bees, the little foot people, they're expendable.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they don't give a shit about them.
Not really, no.
And if you notice, certain times of the year, like with certain religious groups, for instance, it may get a little more intense because that's their spiritual time. There is a spiritual component. Some of these people practice things, believe in certain things, and they need that energy, which is sort of psychic vampiric type of thing. They feed off of you. There's certain times
Yeah, that. See, what I noticed, like not just with the gang stalking, but like when I was doing a lot of my conspiracy research, I noticed that like the people who are the highest up, like in the world, like the billionaires, they're always deeply into like astrology. Not that there's anything wrong about astrology, but they're always deeply into like mysticism and voodoo, like kind of like a corporate voodoo type of thing.
Yes, yes, and that's part of that is that is very true, and part of that is if you're a good person and you believe in certain indigenous or natural. I believe in, I don't believe in the three brothers as they call per se. I don't care what people believe in, just be a good person. But for me personally, some of these religions are done to brainwash and control you, and I don't support that. People don't think for themselves. So
Right.
people look outside to alternative things. Myself, I am an alternative thinker and an alternative spiritual belief person. So they want to target me because they want to try to control what I have or figure out what I have or see if there's power in it. Their mentality is from a very, even though they're doing spiritual stuff, it's very materialistic. It's not on a higher level. It's very greedy, grubbing, and controlling. They want to take this power in it so they can utilize it to control others. Not because they believe in the force of nature or believe in the powers of the heavens. They don't believe in that shit. They want to harness it to control it. And that's where the premise of their spirituality comes in, which is not spiritual at all. It's phony.
Yeah.
Just like you have a whole bunch of Zionists in my case. My building's owned by Zionists. Well, think about it. The name of my building is called Stonehenge.
Uh-oh.
Why would a bunch of Jews call their building Stonehenge? That was my first red flag. When they bought my building out of the government program and made it a regular rental, the management company was Stonehenge Management. What is Stonehenge? Stonehenge is a portal and an altar in Europe.
Yeah.
That's that white people shit. I'm not white. I don't consider myself white. That's that white people shit. Okay, I don't care what they do. It's wonderful. That's your business. But don't tell me a bunch of Zionist Jewish people that call themselves Stonehenge don't practice on the other side of their hand something else.
Right.
It doesn't add up.
They're not. A lot of these people that are saying they're Jewish aren't really Jewish. I don't think. I mean, they might be genetically Jewish, in a sense, or they might not be. They might have stole. I think a lot of these people steal the identities of like they say they're Jewish, but they're really involved in like all this other world occult stuff. And
Yeah, like Satanism.
Yeah.
Satanism and all kinds of. Yes, I agree with you on that.
Right.
Even a lot of Christian people, a lot of them Latter-day Saints, a lot of people are toasted in the head.
You know what?
A lot of them, yes.
So you know what? After World War II, a lot of those top Nazis actually took on fake identifications of Jewish people, like the Ashkenazi Jews, the ones who aren't supposed, like they're not really Semitic, but they're still Jewish. You know what I mean?
Yes.
A lot of those Nazis, like a lot of them that are saying they're Jewish, they're really not even Jewish. They're really Nazis posing to be Jews.
And that's what I'm dealing with. Because I knew the red flag went as soon as I saw a bunch of people with yarmulkes running what they call Stonehenge Management. That does not add up. I was like, you're Jewish? And
Right.
you call yourself Stonehenge? And then you have a white Nazi-looking MF clocking me? Something ain't right up in here.
Right.
And what they do, though, is they try to pit people. Like they try to pit the Muslims against the Jews in my building, or the 1 week it's the Jews against the Christians. They try to do that as diversionary tactics when they don't give a shit about none of it. Really. They just consider, like you said, that occultish. Occult in itself means nothing. It just means dark or hidden. But the what they do is the issue, not the word occult in and of itself. That's just a word. That's just the hidden knowledge. It's what they practice that's the issue, not the word.
Right on. Hey, I was gonna say, I got some. This has been like incredible to be able to interview you. I got to do some things outside. I was gonna say, can we do a part two tonight or something?
Sure,
Are you
I
working?
have to go too. Yes, I have some stuff I have to do as well. Yeah, we can do part two another time. Sure.
Okay. Well, how about tomorrow around the same, like tomorrow, late morning or
I'm not exactly sure because I may have to do something tomorrow, but let's play it by ear.
okay,
Okay?
okay,
But I'm definitely, the more knowledge I give out for people, the better. I'm happy to do that.
right on. Well,
Okay?
okay. So we'll talk soon.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I got a lot of these. I got a lot of people calling me with a lot of different stories. You'd be surprised. My phone. This is just one of my phones. I got two. I got two phones. I got people calling me with just. It's just incredible. It really is.